February 1920, a nameless woman is pulled from the freezing waters of Berlin's Landwehr Canal. She has no papers, no identity, and a body covered in scars. For 2 years, she remains silent in a mental asylum, known only as Fräulein Unbekannt, Miss Unknown.
But when she finally speaks, she whispers a name that sends shockwaves through a grieving Europe: Anastasia Romanov.
Could the youngest daughter of the Tsar, the girl the world thought was butchered in a Russian basement, actually be alive? Today, we peel back the layers of the 20th century's greatest mystery. To understand the mystery, we must return to the blood. In 1917, the 300-year Romanov dynasty didn't just fall, it imploded. Driven by famine, war, and the mystic influence of Rasputin, the Russian people rose up. Nicholas II, a man who loved his family more than his crown, abdicated. The Imperial Family became the prisoners. They were moved from palace to palace, eventually landing in the House of Special Purpose in Yekaterinburg. They were no longer royalty, they were targets. For 78 days, the Romanovs lived in a gilded cage that grew smaller by the hour. The windows were painted white so they couldn't see the sky. Guards scrawled lewd drawings on the walls. 17-year-old Anastasia, known as the family's imp, tried to keep spirits high with jokes and plays. But outside, the White Army was approaching. The Bolsheviks realized that as long as a Romanov breathed, the revolution was at risk.
July 17, 1918. After midnight. Yurovsky wakes the family. He tells them the White Army is shelling the city. For their safety, they must move to the basement. They followed Yurovsky into a small, semi-basement room, 11 feet by 13 feet. They thought they were waiting for a truck. They were waiting for their end. The relatives have continued their offensive. The Ural Regional Soviet has decided to execute you.
What?
Yurovsky didn't repeat himself. He drew his Colt revolver and shot the Tsar in the chest. Chaos erupted. 12 men began firing into the tiny room. The smoke from the black powder became so thick the guards couldn't see their own hands. When the smoke cleared, a horrific sight awaited the killers. While the Tsar and Tsarina were dead, the daughters were still alive. Bullets seemed to bounce off them like they were wearing magical armor. In reality, the girls had sewn over 1.3 kilograms of diamonds and jewelry into their corsets for safekeeping. These gems acted as makeshift bulletproof vests. The executioners, panicked and coughing, drew their bayonets to finish what the bullets couldn't. The murder was messy, the disposal was a disaster. Yurovsky's team was drunk and disorganized. They threw the bodies into a shallow mine, but realized the local villagers would find them. They hauled the bodies back out, doused them in sulfuric acid to erase their features, and tried to burn 2 of the children to confuse anyone counting the remains. This confusion, the missing bodies, is exactly where the legend of Anastasia was born. By 1920, the Bolsheviks officially admitted the Tsar was dead, but they were vague about the family. Rumors swirled. A guard had a change of heart. A soldier carried a bleeding girl to safety in a farm wagon. In this vacuum of grief and hope, the woman from the Berlin Canal, now calling herself Anna Anderson, found an audience. She knew things only a Romanov could know. Or did she? Anna Anderson was a sensation. She was recognized by some Romanov relatives and rejected by others. She had the same foot deformity as Anastasia. She had scars that matched bayonet wounds, but she refused to speak Russian, claiming the language of her murderers traumatized her.
Critics claim she was Franziska Szankowska, a Polish factory worker who had disappeared from a boarding house weeks before the canal suicide.
For 30 years, the German courts battled over her identity. It became the longest-running case in German history. In 1970, the court ruled that she had neither proven she was Anastasia, nor had it been proven she wasn't. She died in 1984, taking her secret to the grave. She was cremated, seemingly ending any chance of a scientific answer. But she forgot one thing, a small piece of tissue left behind in a hospital. As the Soviet Union collapsed, the truth rose from the dirt. Amateur investigators, following Yurovsky's hidden notes, found a mass grave. Inside were 9 skeletons. Scientists used DNA from Prince Philip, a grandnephew of the Tsarina, to confirm these were the Romanovs. But the count was wrong. 2 bodies were missing: the boy, Alexei, and one of the girls. the mystery of Anastasia was more alive than ever. In 1994, the world watched as DNA from Anna Anderson's preserved tissue was compared to the Romanov remains. The result was a cold, hard no. Anna Anderson was not Anastasia. She was indeed the missing factory worker, Franziska. But if Anna was a fake, where was the real Anastasia? Was she the second body missing from the woods? In 2007, a group of amateur archaeologists found a second grave. It contained the charred remains of a boy and a young woman. Sophisticated DNA testing, mitochondrial, YSTR, and autosomal, confirmed these were the final two Romanov children. The diamond armor hadn't saved them. It had only delayed the inevitable, leading to their bodies being burned separately in a desperate attempt at concealment. On July 17, 1998, exactly 80 years after the murder, the Tsar and his family were finally laid to rest in the Peter and Paul Cathedral. They were canonized as saints. The mystery was solved by science, but the emotional scar on the Russian soul remained. They weren't just political figures. They were a father, a mother, and 5 children who met a terrifying end. Anastasia did not survive. There was no farm wagon, no secret escape, no princess in exile. The truth is more tragic. She died with her family in that smoke-filled room. Yet, for nearly a century, she lived in our collective imagination. We wanted her to survive because we wanted hope to triumph over the darkness of that basement. The mystery of Anastasia was never about a girl. It was about our refusal to believe that such beauty could be so easily extinguished.